It's not just, hey, let's be intimate. It's, is my body actually capable of doing this right now? Hello everybody, it's Delilah and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, is going to be a juicy one. I'm going to be spilling the tea on a lot of stuff, talking about some more sensitive, private topics. I'm not going to get too intimate here, but I will warn you that the vast majority of these questions are surrounding the topic of intimacy. Just forewarning you, if there are little ears present, you might want to watch this at a later date, but I will try my best to just keep it very PG. I'm not going to answer the really juicy questions. I'm just going to answer the ones that are a little juicy. This video has been very requested by you, so without further ado, let's dive into it. Do you enjoy pregnancy? On my third and find it harder each time, therefore harder to enjoy. Yes, I do enjoy pregnancy, but I will say in my second pregnancy, I struggled quite a bit mentally, and I definitely did not enjoy it as much as I have in the past. With my first pregnancy, loved it. Second pregnancy, kind of hard. Third pregnancy has been pretty great. The first trimester was really hard, like physically, I was pretty sick. Second trimester, I was dealing with a lot of like mental stuff, so it was a little bit harder then, but now in my third trimester, it's been great. Overall, a really great experience, but I will admit that I was afraid to get pregnant again. My second pregnancy scarred me a little bit, and I was kind of scared to get pregnant again, and I wasn't ready for a very long time, and even when I did get pregnant again, I wasn't like super ready. With my other two pregnancies, I had the craziest baby fever, but this time we knew we wanted more kids and we didn't want to wait too long, and we knew that was about the time we wanted to get pregnant again, so we just kind of dove for it. We went for it and it happened, and it's been good. It's been good. In my first trimester, how did you manage work, house, and play with a toddler? I went into survival mode. I did whatever I could. I did the best I could. Pretty much scraped by with bare minimum, and I don't know what I would have done, especially in this third pregnancy without my husband here. He's been at home this entire pregnancy. He's been working from home, and it's really nice because he can help me out when I just really can't do it on my own. A lot of times I have felt guilt over feeling like I'm not doing enough, feeling like I should be more present with my kids, feeling like I should be cooking better meals, feeling like I should be doing more with my kids, like activities and fun things, and I just can't. A lot of the time I just can't. And that's okay. There will be times when you can do a lot, and there will be times when you can't do much. That's just how life goes. Do you find it liberating not to have to do natural family or abstain? Yeah, I mean, it's really nice not having to be so careful. It almost adds that like little bit of excitement into it, of like extra excitement, and it's fun. It's nice. Does the baby ever move a lot during sex, and is it weird? Yeah, there have been, especially lately as the baby gets bigger, a number of times when the baby's moving a lot, and it's very distracting and very weird. Can you have sex with placenta previa? This really depends on the severity of your case. In my case, I have marginal placenta previa, so it's the most mild form. I have not been told to abstain. There was a couple of weeks around the 20-ish week mark before we knew more details that I was asked to abstain from sex for about 10 days until we could get a better view in the ultrasound to see what was really going on. And I think a lot of that had to do with I was having some spotting here and there, and we just really didn't know what was going on. When they found out it was a marginal placenta previa, I was given the green light, we were good to go, and it was fine. But if you have complete or even sometimes partial placenta previa, it can be quite dangerous, and you might be asked to abstain from sex, to be on bed rest basically, not to exercise, and to just be very careful because it can be really dangerous. Why do you think women feel ashamed if they don't 100% enjoy pregnancy? I think a lot of that comes just from being sensitive toward the women who can't get pregnant, who struggle with infertility. I know for myself, I really want to be careful when I talk about things because I really do love pregnancy. And it's a beautiful time, and I don't want to take it for granted, and it helps to keep myself in check as well, because I know I am very fortunate to be able to get pregnant. Having gone through a miscarriage myself, I understand what those women are going through, and I understand that it is really hard to hear a pregnant woman complaining about being pregnant, because at least they can get pregnant, right? And that's kind of what goes through your head when you're in the grieving stages, and it's hard to feel happy for them. So I think a lot of the shame that women feel about not enjoying pregnancy definitely stems from that. But at the same time, it's 100% okay to not fully enjoy pregnancy. It's hard. Like, some women have it so hard, like sick, constantly, mentally ill. Like, there's a lot of things that can cause pregnancy to not be fun, and it's okay to not enjoy it. With your first 2 babies, when did you lose your mucus plug, and how long after did labor start? I cannot tell you when I lost my mucus plug, especially the first time. Like, I don't remember. Maybe I talked about it way back in the day. I just can't remember right now, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. With my son, I think I was kind of in like a prodromal labor for a couple of weeks, or a week, or it was a while. I was overdue. I was dilated for a really long time, and I think I was slowly losing my mucus plug over the last week or so. And then eventually I finally went into labor. So losing your mucus plug could be a sign that you'll go into labor really soon. It might not be. How has being pregnant affected your intimacy? Not necessarily sexual. I like this question because most of the questions are about sex, but it affects the intimacy in more ways than just sex. I mean, obviously it's harder to do anything because there's a big belly in the way. So just even being close, being comfortable, cuddling, getting into a comfortable position, not sexually, but like just cuddling, hugging is hard. Just getting close to each other is hard because there's something in the way. A symptom of my pregnancies is that I'm a little bit more sensitive to smells. And so kissing isn't always that enjoyable because it smells. The biggest thing is just the closeness. It's hard to be close and like really one-on-one because there is just something that is really in the way. How far into pregnancy have you still done it? Right up until the night that I went into labor. Speaking of sex to induce labor, has it worked for you? Yes. The very first time I went into labor, we were intimate that night, and then a few hours later, Eloise was born. After 2 births, is down there the same? Do you feel any different in libido? Yeah, down there is not the same as it used to be. I mean, it hasn't changed that drastically. It's mostly just more stretched, obviously, because 2 humans have been birthed out of there. It really doesn't feel any different. It just looks a little bit different. Do you feel any different in libido? Yeah. I mean, during pregnancy, my libido is gone. Gone. Completely gone. And a lot of that is because it's harder to be intimate and it hurts and there's other things to think about. It's not just, hey, let's be intimate. It's, is my body actually capable of doing this right now? After pregnancy, into postpartum, everything is normal and fine. But it's during pregnancy that I do struggle a little bit in that area. Did you spot with pregnancy? And if so, how did you not freak out about it? I spotted in all my pregnancies, and it never really concerned me because it was never a lot. In the first 2 pregnancies, it was usually towards the end, and it was only after sex. It only happened like 2 or 3 times, and it was hardly anything at all. In this pregnancy, I have had it quite a bit more frequently. I haven't had anything since about 20 weeks, but in the first half of my pregnancy, there were a number of times when I did spot. And a lot of that has to just do with my cervix being more sensitive right now. Sometimes it was because of sex, sometimes it was just, I don't know, maybe hormonal changes. I don't really know. But I was never concerned because it was never a lot. What is the most unexpected pregnancy symptom this time around? Okay, I have not mentioned this because I keep forgetting to talk about it, but the weirdest thing happened to me. First of all, I did not know until recently, someone told me this, that you can develop skin tags during pregnancy. I thought, oh, that's kind of funny. And then literally a couple weeks later, I started developing skin tags. But here's the thing, it wasn't just one skin tag, it was two, right here. Both sides, like in my armpit, on both sides, exactly the same spot. How weird is that? They were so small I could just like pick them off and it was fine, and they haven't reappeared yet, but like that is just the most bizarre thing. The same thing on both sides, and I've never had that before. Pregnancy guilty pleasures, the compliments, the questions, etc. In the very beginning, a lot of it I really reveled in and enjoyed, like just the topic of pregnancy in general, talking about the baby, being excited to talk about the baby, talking about the gender, like what do you think the gender is going to be, and talk about names and all this stuff. And I think now a lot of that excitement has kind of worn off. And I think because of the job I have, I hear a lot of the same answers over and over again, and it's feeling like the same conversation over and over again. So it's not as thrilling to talk about those topics anymore. But a small guilty pleasure of mine is being pampered a little bit more. And I mean, it's a guilty pleasure, but at the same time, I literally feel guilty about it. Like, I'll enjoy it to a certain extent, but then after a while it starts to feel like I don't need people to serve me, I can do it myself. Like, I just start to feel really bad. But I will say I do enjoy not having to get up as frequently. Other people are willing to get up for me. Being able to sit back a little bit, and like other people will grab coffee for me, or other people will offer the comfy spot, or you know, like just these little things, little people will go out of their way to let me have. Like, it's nice sometimes. It's nice to feel a little bit special in that way. How do you react when people want to touch your belly? The only people who have ever asked to touch my belly or have touched my belly are my moms, my mother-in-law and my mom. Or my dad sometimes. That's kind of it. That's really it. Like, strangers have not asked to touch my belly. I would feel really weird about that, and I mean, I probably would let them given the situation, but it would be weird. But if it's like friends or family, I really don't care. How did you know you had varicose veins in your lady parts? Can you see them? Yes, the first time I noticed, I was going to the washrooms, going pee, and then when I went to wipe, I realized something's not right. Something is real swollen and I don't know what's up. And I didn't know what was going on until I went to my next prenatal and I asked my doctor about it, and she obviously looked, she checked, and it was varicose veins. And since then, things have just been getting more and more swollen. I mean, varicose veins are very bulgy, so you can really feel them. You don't even have to look to know that, yeah, varicose veins are there. Are there any names you love that Zach doesn't, and vice versa? There are a few names that I love that Zach doesn't. Zach really hasn't suggested any names at all. That's more so my area. I'm usually the one who suggests the names. One name in particular that I adore is Vincent. I think that is the cutest boy name ever, but Zach is like dead set against it. I actually filmed a whole video on baby names that I love and we might use in the future. And there are a number of names in there that I personally love and Zach does not love. So if you want to get some more baby name inspiration or learn more about that, I will leave that video linked for you. What part of your body changed for the worse during after pregnancy? I wouldn't say anything's really changed for the worse other than like the varicose veins during pregnancy, but so far that has gone away when I'm not pregnant. So I'm hoping once this baby is born that those veins will go away again. But really, I wouldn't say anything has changed for the worse. Can you still nap when baby naps postpartum when having toddlers? What was your experience? I have never once napped while baby naps. I'm not a napper, I'm just not capable of doing so, and that's almost probably one of the most annoying comments that I get. Any mom will get this comment from anyone. Everyone's gonna say, sleep when the baby sleeps. But for me, that's just not possible, and it almost irritates me because I want to be able to, but I know I can't. Especially as a work from home mom, like when the baby sleeps, I need to work. And now that I have 2 other children, I want to be able to spend time with them as well. So when the baby's sleeping, I'll be spending time with them too. Otherwise, I would never spend time with them. I would never see them. And they need that from their mom. They need to be able to spend some good one-on-one quality time with mom, especially since so much of my attention is being given to the baby at that time. They really crave and they need that attention. But obviously sleep is very important. And I think a lot of that mostly just happens like really early nights and then later mornings. So a lot of that happens while the kids are actually sleeping. When giving birth, do you feel at all self-conscious about pooping while pushing? Yeah, I felt self-conscious about it, but at the same time, like I was just so desperate to get that baby out of me at that point that I didn't care. I thought I had pooped with Theo. I really was sure I did, but I didn't. So far I have not pooped on the table, although I know that's always entirely a possibility. What my body has done in the past is as soon as I'm in labor, I get the runs. And I have to go to the bathroom, and that's one huge sign for me that I'm actually going into labor. My body naturally just clears itself out to make way for baby to come. Do you shave your lady parts, and how do you do it with your bump in the way? I do. And I have to stay more on top of it now than ever because everything down there is just a whole lot more sensitive. You know when you shave and then the hair starts to grow back and then it starts to get itchy? Right now, being pregnant and everything being more sensitive down there, it gets like 50 times more itchy than before, and it hurts and it's sore and it's not fun. So I have to stay on top of it. But how do I do it? I mean, it's getting real tricky, and sometimes I just gotta go in blind and hope for the best. Have you noticed issues with your bladder retention with your third pregnancy? I actually haven't. This is something I haven't really dealt with a whole lot at all. There are times, for example, jumping on the trampoline after having kids, I might pee myself a little bit uncontrollably, and that is what it is. But other than that, like, I really haven't had any problems with that at all. If delivery was wild, would you rather book it to the hospital or deliver at home and call 911? This is where my husband and I will disagree. I would much rather stay at home, labor at home, risk having a home birth and call 911 and have the help come to us. He would probably say, get in the vehicle, we're going to the hospital right now, in hopes that we could make it there in time. I mean, I would much rather have a more peaceful delivery at home where I'm comfortable rather than having a very scary, dramatic delivery on the side of the highway in a vehicle. You know, like, that would be my personal decision. Have you been snoring or been more gassy? I'm 7 months and have been dealing with both. I haven't been more gassy, but I have been snoring. Zach has so lovingly told me that I've been snoring, which is something I don't normally do much, I don't think. I mean, Zach is a really solid sleeper, so he rarely notices, but he often stays up a little bit later than I do, especially now. I tend to wake up earlier, go to bed a little bit earlier, and he's a little bit the opposite way. So I'll usually fall asleep before him now, and he will notice that I snore. But it's fine, because he just rolls over and goes to sleep, and it's like, he's fine. But for me, when he snores, it's a whole issue. I'm awake the whole night. Like, it's really frustrating. So yeah, I've been snoring more, and a big part of that is because I can't breathe in my nose anymore. So annoyed with not being able to breathe in my nose. It's constantly stuffy. I feel like I'm constantly congested. Do you feel pressured to be a certain way while pregnant because you're a public figure? I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm a public figure, but I know that I am more in the spotlight than a lot of women are, because I put myself out there. And yeah, I do feel pressured to be a certain way while pregnant. In a lot of ways. If I talk too much about the hard parts of pregnancy, people complain that I don't appreciate it enough. If I don't ever talk about the negative parts of pregnancy, people complain that I'm not realistic enough. There's never pleasing anyone, and I feel like I don't know, I feel like I need to be this perfect person, but there is no perfect person, and there is no way to please everyone. So I definitely feel this pressure to be a certain way, to like love pregnancy, but yet be realistic about it. And I try to be, because that's genuinely how I feel, but it just can't please everyone. Do you miss your old body? No, I don't. I mean, by the end of this pregnancy, when I can only wear the same 3 outfits over and over and over again, I'm gonna miss not being pregnant. I'm gonna miss wearing my high-waisted jeans, and I kind of do. Like, there's a lot of limitations when you're dressing a bump. But at the same time, as soon as I'm not pregnant anymore, I know I'm going to miss the bump. So I'm trying to just appreciate it as much as I can right now and just enjoy it and love it. Do you feel sexier now or when you're not pregnant? I feel sexier when I'm not pregnant, but I feel more confident when I am pregnant, which is really interesting. Like, I feel really good and confident in my body, but sexy? No. I'm very limited into how I can like move my body and dress my body with a bump. And so I don't feel as sexy, but I do feel very confident because what my body is doing is amazing and I think it's so cool. First poop after giving birth, as bad as everyone says. I have not had horrible experiences, but I've also not torn very badly. I didn't tear at all in my second birth, and in my first I only had abrasions, so I didn't actually tear. If I had torn and I had needed stitches, I'm sure it would have been a lot worse. What grosses you out about pregnancy and childbirth? Honestly, nothing. I've been through the whole thing twice in full, about to go through it again, and it's all old news already. Like, nothing is surprising me, nothing grosses me out. Honestly, it's just beautiful to me. Pregnancy and childbirth and everything that comes along with it is just beautiful. I think that is everything for today's video. You guys came through with a ton of questions, so I kind of narrowed it down to like 30 questions or so that were commonly asked. So I hope I was able to answer your question. If you want to be more involved in videos like this and get your questions in the ring, I suggest you follow me over on Instagram. That's also where I'm going to be first announcing the birth of this baby and where I can share things more as they're happening in the moment. So if you want to follow me over there, I will leave it linked down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.